I'd like to call this meeting of the February 19th Library Board to order. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Brittany, if you'd be so kind to call the roll.
Yes. Camille.
Here.
Gail.
Here.
Jordan.
Here.
Alderman Kapusta.
Here.
Barb.
Here.
All right, and currently excused is Tracy, Robin, Aaron. Am I missing anyone? Oh, Tony.
Tony.
There we go.
Inquiring about the statement of public notice.
This meeting was noticed according to the open meeting law.
All right, thank you. Any public comments? Seeing no one here, I think we can move forward to the consent agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of January 15th, 2019, and to place on file the library financial reports of January 19th.
I will make a motion to approve.
A second? Second. Thank you. Any commentary? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. President's report.
None.
None. Oh yeah, he's not here.
Yeah.
And he didn't
Old
leave me
person
any.
brain.
And he didn't leave me anything either.
That was easy.
Hi, Robin.
All right, director's report, please.
All right. Hi, everyone. Happy February. Be prepared for your snow boots tomorrow.
Again.
All right. So we are going to be on packet page 13. Thank you. Okay. A couple highlights. Our tax aid is back. Like I said, we have 199 people signed up so
Nice.
far.
Wow.
So that is fantastic, and we have, just some openings left. So I know they'll all get filled. They always do every year, and we're just so grateful to those volunteers. It's a fantastic service for the community, and it gets people in our doors that maybe don't necessarily always come to the library. Mm-hmm. So that's an exciting time for us. Let's see, highlight from the children's update. We kicked off 500 books before 15, so that's great. I meant to get a stat to see how many people we've signed up, because I know we've started signing people up, but I forgot to do that. I have been thinking a lot about your feedback about the desire to have momentum maintained, like if a child graduates out of 1,000 books, but they're not ready for 500 books. And so I think I came up with a solution that won't have us have to start up a new program, which frankly would be impossible for us. But I do think that it's perfectly feasible to have the child do the 1,000 books before kindergarten over again. And so they could, if they finished it and wanted to, do the packet again, they could absolutely do that. And it's actually an exciting time if you know of anyone who's already achieved it, because we are going to do a relaunch in early March. The sheets are going to look slightly different, so it'll be brand new and exciting for them if they've already done it once before. And it the sheets are cool. Abby designed them to have early literacy tips for the parents at the bottom, so the parents are getting some education along with the children being able to go through and track their reading.
Besides the obvious, what is the incentive to read the 1,000 books? Is there something that they get at the end, and then could you work out a different incentive program perhaps for the second 1,000, so that would compel people to do it?
Yeah. So the incentives the first time are something that we want to be financially manageable. So I'll be honest, they're not anything. There's no golden gooses with golden eggs. It's they get a sticker, and then they get a little rubber ducky. I think they get a children's book. I'm trying to think of...
When we did it, it was just one at the end. There was nothing like each time you bring in your 25 books or whatever. It was just a reusable bag.
I'm saying for the second 1,000, maybe we could incent
Well,
more. I mean, that was...
So currently they get... Along the way, they get those little prizes, and then they get the book bag at the end.
Okay.
Honestly, just to keep things manageable.
Yeah, it probably
For
would
the
be harder to
second time
manage, yeah.
around, we thought it would. Kids love stickers, and so we thought if you've already graduated, you got the prizes that we've paid for the first time, then stickers the second time throughout, and hopefully that'll be enough. Again, they'll still get to do the sheets, and again there'll be new sheets, which is really exciting. But that will allow us to meet the challenge of there's a gap, an incentive gap, but then still make it a manageable program for us to maintain.
What about if you went to one of the businesses, let's just say Culver's, and to see if you could get little certificates for free cones? Something on that lines where the businesses are also getting involved. Just a thought.
You know, that's a very good question.
Yeah,
I'll make a
like-
note. I
Or
know
dollar
that.
store maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would.
But you know, I mean, just getting a free ice cream cone.
They do it at
can some-
school, like the public school.
Yeah.
They do like every month they get a free pizza from Pizza Hut.
Okay.
So and
That-
the new Pizza Hut just opened.
Yes,
so
that, yes, so that,
I know, you know, and that is interesting, and so
there's a lot of
certainly.
cones and pizzas to give away though.
yeah,
The-
true.
the-
How many students do you get that actually would be possibly going on to that second level of $1,000? A
Hard,
lot?
hard to say. I mean,
Okay.
at this point, we haven't had inquiries about it,
Sure.
but you know, beyond maybe just one or two.
Besides me.
So-
But you know, now
so-
now it's available. Now we're ready for it if we do get that question, which is good. Excuse me. The one thing we always want to be a little cautious of is that we hit the businesses really hard for summer reading,
Okay.
and so like I know Pizza Hut will be.
Yeah.
We'll be hitting them up come summer reading, and Culver's. The Friends of the Library are thinking of doing a Culver's night
Okay.
to do some fundraising for. So I wrote them down to see
Yeah.
what type of other incentives they may have aside from the Culver's night, because it never hurts to ask, certainly.
Right.
And I love chicken tenders. So
I'm thinking dollar store though. I mean, if let's say you took $100, you'd have 100 items, and then a kid could pick from the 100 items.
There's like a little treasure box. or
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. If you know.
Yeah.
Of course, I think there you have to be a little careful about what you buy.
Yeah,
That's
because you
the-
can donate up the small parts
Yep.
and stuff like that.
So, but anyway, I'm just thinking if there was
Yeah.
a way to incent people and say, hey, if you want to do your second 1,000,
Mhm.
this is even a better program than the first 1,000, or
Yeah.
however you want to phrase it.
Oh, let's see what else. Our teen librarian went to a webinar, or took a webinar. Oh, that's okay. About signage in the library, which is really exciting because one of our action plan items is to analyze signage throughout the library, like what is effective and what isn't. So I'm really excited to not only take what she learned from that webinar, but really make sure that our signage is actually doing what it's supposed to, and you know, it can always be better, frankly. So I'm excited to delve into that. On packet page 14, other updates, just a date of note, our next board meeting is March 19th. That will, I believe, be an important one for reasons I'll talk about a little bit later in the meeting. And then I'm hoping to contact the strategic planning committee to set up a meeting possibly the first week in March or so.
I will be in Jamaica.
No,
So-
you have to stay here for the meeting.
So now we all get to go to Jamaica
Yeah.
just because library business doesn't have to be the first week in March. But I'll contact you all because part of the strategic planning process is I've gone through several drafts of drafting the community survey that we're going to send out, but I did want the strategic planning committee to look at the questions and see if you notice anything bizarre or whatnot before I launch it. So I'll be in touch about that.
Could we do that, because we won't have a quorum of the bigger body, could we do that by email? So we could move forward, if that's the only thing we would be meeting on?
Interesting. I mean, I guess in theory, if the board didn't want the strategic planning committee to formally say, you know, okay, we've looked at it, I could just email the questions and you could give me feedback. But otherwise, I mean, really, I picked the first week in March just arbitrarily.
randomly.
Okay,
Um,
all right, then that's
Yeah,
fine.
So-
I saw that when I was reading the packet. I'm like, oh.
When are you back from Jamaica? Not to be
I will
nosy
be
about it.
returning on the 9th.
Okay.
I'm gone the 2nd through the 9th.
Okay.
Saturday.
Oh
and
yeah, we'll be
Saturday.
able to.
Yeah.
We'll be able to work that out.
I wish it was longer, but
Yes,
I'll take the week.
we're happy for you. Not at all
Thank
jealous. Strategic planning, just to give you some updates on what's been going on. So based on that framework that I presented at the January board meeting, data collection has begun. We've collected over 200 testimonials through over a couple different initiatives, and we're coding that right now in a spreadsheet based on topics. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see. You know, what are people saying are positive things, so we can continue to support that. I've identified over 25 possible candidates for one-on-one interviews that represent a variety of stakeholder groups, and a big thank you to those of you who sent along recommendations. I've reached out to them, and I'm starting to schedule those as well. And I'm very happy with the range. You know, that stakeholder group that I presented to you and you guys looked at and you added a few. I've really been able to identify a spectrum, you know, so that we get good representation. So that's very exciting. Same for focus groups. I have about 12 in my wildest dreams. 12 is the number I have to, again, represent a variety of stakeholder groups and give people opportunities to speak. So far I've scheduled 2 of them are complete, and I got some great feedback, so I'm really excited to eventually share it with you all in the report. And several more are scheduled and on the way. March 19th, I think March 19th is our next board meeting. I wanted to make sure that I had a focus group that was in the evening, just in case anyone who is working during the day would have an opportunity to attend. So that's going to be right after the board meeting. So what that means is we have 2 hours at the next meeting. Not that anyone actually wants to be here that long, but I need to skedaddle at 7 o'clock to go to the focus group. But also that means if you're interested in attending, it's sort of, hopefully we get attendance, but it'll be at 7 o'clock on March 19th. So those are the things that are going on. Just really busy right now. Lots of communication with different parties, just trying to arrange and schedule different times to meet with people and collect the data. But I'm really happy with the momentum we have right now. And so that's good. Like I mentioned, Library Lovers Month. We were having people fill out testimonials on hearts. You maybe saw some of them in the lobby. The common themes that we're coding them right now of their happiness focuses on our materials, friendly staff, programming, and the ability to get items delivered from other libraries. Those are things that are really important to people, things that they've identified. So that was fun. We had our Food for Fines program that just finished last week. And don't ignore the data I gave, because that was only as of Wednesday morning. We ultimately had 240 food items that we collected, which meant that we also waived $240 worth of fines for our patrons. So really happy that it was a great scenario for everyone, you know, for the patrons, for the food pantry. They had to come empty the food barrel several times, which was always a great problem to have. So very, very excited about that.
Were they older fines, newer fines? Just out of curiosity, do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Do you know offhand, maybe you don't want to state this publicly, but what kind of percentage of all of our fines that is?
Oh, well, I mean, I can tell you that in 2018 we had $17,000 worth of fine revenue. And this was 200
revenue collected?
Correct.
Okay.
Collected, yep. And the Food for Fines was $240.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those scenarios where it gave people an opportunity, and that's a lot. That's 200.
And it's the first year.
Yep. I mean, 240 food items, $248 of fines. That's a lot. And we can always improve on it, I think. But also, there's a balance between knowing that we need the revenue. So, you know, you don't want to break your bank, but you also want to give an opportunity, and we were able to do that, and that's
I
really
assume there are
exciting.
some repeat offenders also, so do you know how many units, if you will?
I don't, like how many unique
How many,
users?
yes.
I don't know, but, you know, even the max was 5. So if you do
there
5
was a
divided by
max, okay.
240, it couldn't have been any less than whatever that number is.
So 48.
Yeah.
Don't make me do mental math in front of the
48.
recorder.
I'll do it again, 48.
Oh, gosh.
Did you happen to notify the people that was an option? Did you do that?
You know, I
Is it hard
didn't.
to know?
I thought about it quite a bit, and there are many ways in which it could have been effective, but at the end of the day, we technically don't. We have permission to tell people, hey, you have items that are overdue, but they don't technically opt in to get emailed, hey, you have fines, hey, you have fines, hey, you have fines. And there is a stigma sometimes attached with people in fines where like they feel very embarrassed or they feel ashamed, and we never want them to feel that way. We never want them to feel pressured like, hey, you know, we're the collections agency, bring back your money. It creates a relationship that some libraries have that reputation, we don't want to have that. And so it's hard because
I just wonder if you're going to get people that are going to be upset.
It's possible.
That they didn't know.
It's possible.
That was an option that they could have done.
Yeah, and I mean, we advertised it and,
I think this was kind of a trial year. I mean, it's our first time doing it, so,
Yeah.
you know, again, I guess we'll have time to reflect on what you're exactly
Right,
saying,
right.
Tracy,
I'm
is
just
whether-
thinking.
And it's only $5. It's not saying all of your.
Yeah.
You can't, you know,
Correct.
unlimited.
Yeah.
Correct.
it's
Right.
there's a potential stigma danger there that I had to weigh against the effectiveness of trying to communicate with people who might have benefited from it.
Of course,
But
this will change more and more, but canned goods are not always $1 too, so it's actually
It could be
less
more
expensive
expensive,
to.
yeah.
well, and we
More or
actually
less.
talked about that. We could have made it, you know, $2 an item, or you know, but then it was like, well, depending upon what people bring, they're either getting a good deal or not.
Right.
And then at that point, it's like, all right,
Then
let's just
literally nickel and diming.
exactly.
Right.
We'll
Yeah.
pick something in the spirit of the project, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm happy with it. It was a good first run, and
Yeah, I think the hard thing is exactly what you pointed out. If they're not accepting emails or there's no way to sign them up for that, is it
No, but I
intrusive
would
to
think
let
that
them know?
you have to send them out an email saying that they owe, right?
I don't know.
How do they know that
The
they owe?
emails just say you have an item that's overdue. It doesn't say how much money you owe. We try to keep the cost out of it, I believe.
And then how often do you send those?
They get
Just the first time when it happens?
So they get an email reminder a couple days before it's due saying, hey, don't forget it's about to be due. Then you get an email saying, hey, it's now overdue. Then you get or a text notification or a print letter if you've opted into that. So you get 3 reminders when it's overdue. The 4th reminder is a billed notice saying, you now owe for this item.
Okay.
And they still technically have an opportunity. If they bring it in before we've had to replace it, they can then get that fine knocked down. But I don't believe we talk money in the letters. We try to keep it.
Because maybe, it depends on if somebody is at that particular time frame. When you decide to run it again, you could add it as a line, but then here's your weighing about how many people take advantage of it and the revenue part of it.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I do understand your
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, so you're trying to solicit the money back because of I guess what's your goal? What is your goal? To try to get revenue back into the library for people that, I mean, is that your goal? Or is your goal
You know-
just to be nice and you might be
Or to
able
get the books
do something?
back.
Yeah, or get the books back, because that all depends on how you would handle soliciting the.
Totally.
For
Yes.
this program, you
No,
mean,
not
or
for
just
the
fines
program,
in
but just
general?
for fines in
Oh,
general.
no, the notices are to get the stuff back. It's
The
n-
books back.
Yeah. The fact that it's revenue is fine. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say it certainly helps us.
Yeah, yeah,
But, no, my goal is, please bring our stuff back.
okay.
Please, please.
Yeah, because it prevents other patrons from using it.
Yeah, and frankly, it's more expensive if we don't get the item back because we have to rebuy
It
it,
costs
and then
more.
it's staff time to reprocess it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would always prefer my stuff back. That's why we give them so many opportunities to try to bring it back before we ultimately have the replacement. So, yeah. But anyway, it was a good first attempt, and we're happy in that regard. Canopy. Yeah, I can't emphasize enough how soft of a launch we've done, and it's very intentional. You saw that without saying anything, people just stumbled across it, and we had 27 views in January, which is great. It's exciting. And I'm seeing usage in February as well.
Forgive me for not remembering, but when you say stumbled across it, that wouldn't be just Muskego residents then? No?
People who are Muskego patrons, who are registered
So how are they
as.
stumbling across it? I don't remember how.
Yeah, this is really funny. I freaked out because I was like, how in the world did they ever find out about this? These are patrons who, at one point, were interested in Canopy, didn't even know we were could have been years ago. And so they contacted Canopy and are like, how do we get this? And they said, well, sign up. If your library ever gets it, we will let you know. And so they were contacted once we were active. So we have some really excited people who've been waiting for.
The curses of technology.
I know. So I'm going to be watching it very carefully, and like I said, very soft launch. We'll put it in the newsletter. It went on Facebook. We have some flyers around. We have some handouts at the desk. There are still a few things that I'm trying to tweak with the authentication process to make it as effective as I want it to be. So again, I'm being very.
I don't remember seeing it on Facebook, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. But
Yeah,
That's where I saw
you
it.
did
where I
see
saw
it.
it.
Okay,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
maybe I'm not seeing it.
Because I saw some
Yeah.
faces,
Yeah.
like surprise faces.
Yeah.
So it's softly out
You might
there.
have got some from there then.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. It's got kid stuff and adult stuff, and I really want to see the Spock documentary, and it's on there, so that's cool. We had some great anniversaries. Library Aid, 19 years, and then our children's assistant and young adult librarians, 6 years apiece. So congratulations to them.
Congratulations to them. Could I just, on the stats?
Yeah.
I think it was on the stats, or was it something that was in the percentages were off. I thought, maybe it was.
Percentages.
When I,
Are you talking about packet page 15?
Yeah, I think, it was like the overdrive. Checkout was 5.7% down, and I looked at something else that was less of a.
So check.
4 point, yeah, I can't remember which ones, because I read it online, so I don't
Okay.
have anything to circle.
I'll make a
But
note
just
to.
double check your percentages.
I'll make a note to do
And
that.
I
Yep.
could be wrong, it might have been in something in the budget part that I missed.
Yep. I will double check
So
all
if
that.
You could just,
Yep.
you don't do yourself the services.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, all set.
All set.
All right, great. Move on to the next item, which is unfinished business. Anything there that we need to chat about?
No, except I wanted to say thank you to Tracy for connecting me with the school district. I've been in contact with Stephen about the furniture, so I'm going to go take a look once the weather gets slightly nicer. So I'm excited about that. And there's something else I wanted to thank you for, but I can't remember. So, double thank you, but unknown.
Save it till she remembers.
It was probably something with, we had, for some reason, every single family member is calling me right now, so I'm hoping everything's okay.
If you want to go out and take
no,
it, you
it's,
should.
I think it's okay. They should be able to text. Anyways, it was probably that it was a website thing for.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that
um,
too. I got lost in
test-
that, like down a rabbit hole of interest. Like, you're lucky I didn't buy a snow truck for the library.
Oh,
yeah,
the
there was
Wisconsin
that-
site that we
yeah.
use?
Yeah, that one was
Isn't
good.
that
That
an
was
interesting
good.
site?
Yeah, that was a very
no,
interesting site.
not that. It was for those dementia boxes or something. Because I had mentioned to you
Memory
that
care?
other,
The
the
memory
memory
care.
care.
Kit?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I haven't followed up on. I still have the note. I haven't followed
Okay.
up on that
Because
yet.
that
but
also, because the library had put it on their website, so
Oh.
I thought maybe it was that.
That's,
No,
that
that
was
was
like
good.
that I saw.
I don't know. And Robin, thank you so much for connecting me with that group before. I'm excited to talk with them about the strategic plan. So lots of good advice from you all. I appreciate that. Okay.
All right, so I think we're done with unfinished business.
Yep.
So we move on to new business. First item is discussion action on the state annual report approval.
I did it, you guys. The annual report is done. I'm so happy. I can't stress enough how much this is not why I became a librarian. So, this is the report that I'll submit to the state with our data for 2018. And you are all there, featured under Library Governance, Section 4. Congratulations, you are immortalized on a government document. And the, what was I going to say? Erin is not here, so when we vote to approve the report and have him sign it, and then hopefully when he's not contagious, he can come in and do that.
Oh, he's contagious.
Well, I presume he's contagious. Or maybe he's just not. Either way, when he's feeling better. And then the reason why, if you look at the agenda, it's split out because we have to approve the annual report, but the state also requires that the board approve the statement of library system effectiveness separately. And that statement is on packet page 23, where I basically talk about the value of the Bridges library system and the support they've given us.
Is there anything that you'd like to draw our attention to, or?
Let me just take a quick look here. The circulation for 2018 was up by about 3,000 compared to 17. So that's exciting.
Did our budget increase accordingly, or were we
increased in, like, in terms of what? In what categories?
well, you're saying circulation, so I'm thinking of what the collection is, so probably the two don't jive that.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily I can speak to that. We
Never
have an increase in registered users compared to last year. Reference transactions increased, so that's great. So helped a lot of people. Our library visits increased. And yeah, so it was a very good year for the library overall. E-books increased, e-book usage, audiobook usage increased.
You know, say the self-checkout can't keep going up, but it does.
My son asked me this the other day, do we have copies of the textbooks that are at the high school here?
I don't know the answer to that for sure.
Because he was studying here one time, he's like, I needed my US history book, and I'm
Sure.
like, he didn't know where to look, and I was like,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
I don't know if
Yeah.
we do.
That's
When she's not here, otherwise you could
Yeah.
ask her to
Tony would have
think about
probably
that.
known.
Oh, yeah, she would, yeah.
Yeah.
I will ask. I don't
Of
know.
course, that's gonna be a lot of grades and a lot of books, but just think of just high school.
Possibly. Yeah, just high school,
Yeah.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
here studying one night.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, it was like,
That's a good question.
it's like, you're on the board, why would you know that?
Well, if the library director doesn't know, just tell them
Yeah, there you
that. Why should you know?
It's all there after that. Okay, nothing else in?
Yeah, I would say nothing else major, but a good year. So.
All right, excellent. All right, so, according to what you're telling me, what was it that time, first page? I'm winging it, everybody. We're looking for a motion to approve the state annual report.
A motion?
Okay, a second? Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Excuse me. Second item is statement of library system effectiveness.
I'll make a motion to approve.
For a second. And where is that in the, oh, I'm sorry, we got a second. Any discussion? Get ready. Where is that in the document?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
I think she said it was on packet page 25.
23.
23.
There it is.
Yeah.
Now I'm staring at it. Okay.
Oh, yep, there.
So we are saying that the system did provide effective leadership.
Why in heaven's name would anybody check it not? But anyway,
I don't know.
any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 3, Director Absence Planning.
All right. So, I wanted you to see sort of some of my thoughts as I prepare for my absence. So there's a couple of things. I'm recommending tonight that the board vote on appointing Elka Saylor, head of reference, as interim director for the duration of my medical leave. So, the minute I disappear, that would go into effect. And, she was the interim director before I was hired. And the library's still standing, and, the staff were well taken care of. So it's my recommendation that she be appointed again. So that's going to be something that you're going to vote on in closed session in a little bit. But then beyond that, I have some updates. I've been meeting regularly with Elka, presuming she'll be approved, to ensure a smooth transition of duties. We have a whole document called When Brittany is Gone, and it's just a list of everything I need to take care of. So we're really tracking that well. The strategic planning and capital projects, I think I mentioned this. Those are the things I'm really focusing on right now. And then once I'm gone, we're putting a pause on it. My goal is to have all the data collection for strategic planning done before I leave, and then the data just sits there, and then I come back and I'll start writing the report. So, and really that's enough time. 4 months is enough time to collect the data we need. And then when I return, I'll continue on with those activities. And frankly, this is actually a scenario that would be most likely to happen anyway, because in the summer we're just so busy doing other things and programs and that it would be foolish to try to replace carpeting in the library during summer reading. And yeah, we're just doing other things anyway. So it sort of fits the cycle that it would naturally fit.
No, when is your due date? I'm sorry.
May 28th.
May 28th.
And we just
Right, time for Memorial
keep
Day.
saying it out loud. That's when
Is
it's
May
happening.
28th that Monday?
Not before. I can control this.
Is May 28th that Monday?
I think it's like a Tuesday.
Oh, so it's after.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend?
So you'll get the holiday out of the way.
You can go 42 like me.
I had the
No.
27th, May 27th, baby.
Okay. Worked out well for you. I do not want to go longer or shorter. Just okay. Anyway, it is on my mind that board member terms will be up. Some board member terms will be up for renewal in May. So I will make sure that this process is handled and discussed, and the terms are set before I leave. So I'm not forgetting about that.
I can't remember.
I can't remember, but I will be
think
contacting
I
you
am.
all.
I think I am. So how does that work then? I mean,
What-
do you?
What I did last time is for people whose terms were up, I contacted them and said, "Are you interested in renewing?" And people who said yes, then I forwarded those names onto the mayor and
Okay.
saying, would you reappoint them?
Sure.
And then for people who were like, "No, I've had enough of this amazing ride," then I said,
Yeah.
we need some recommendations.
Okay.
So I will contact you to ask your interest if you are one of those people. I do not remember off the top of my head,
I
though.
think I might be.
Your time
I think
is
it's been 3 years.
okay. 3 wonderful.
I think that started when you did too.
No, you were here before me.
Oh, I was.
I think we started at the same time.
I think so. Yeah.
We need like merit badges. That's the way we'll know.
Can I have a little star on it, like we were talking to
Yeah,
the kids,
exactly.
like stickers
Yes,
and
the
stars.
foil stars, yes. So additionally, I'm recommending that we move up the timeline for budget discussions so that I can be present. The goal of that is 1, so that I can be present, but 2, so that when they normally would take place, nobody else has to worry about it. It's just some quiet summer month meetings. Elka doesn't have to worry about it. We've already had the discussion. So that would mean, in theory, I should be present up through the May board meeting, just barely. But what I'm recommending is the below timeline. So at the March meeting, so I mentioned March 19th would be an important meeting. That's when I would bring to you the capital budget and the maybe the community survey, maybe not. I'm sorry, that's the strategic planning committee. I'm sorry, I can't read. I almost said my own handwriting, but this is typed. The strategic planning will meet at some point to discuss the capital budget and review the community survey. Then the March full board meeting will discuss the capital budget and the operating budget. And I would also have Elka visit at that time so she could be present for those discussions, just in case anything were to come up where the budget might have to be altered at some point. And then at the April full board meeting, we would vote on the capital budget and the operating budget. Then at the May board meeting, we would welcome the new board members. In theory, I'll still be there, and there'd be the election of officers. And then the June and July board meeting, when normally those budget discussions would take place before it goes to council, it would be no new business, just the director's report, library updates, and it'll get you in and out for your summer plans, maybe a little bit faster than if I were here hemming and hawing. So, so that's what I'm recommending. I'm recommending discussion of the budgets in March and a voting in April. The only thing that will not be really fully solidified is the human resources numbers. Human resources gives us the numbers for what it will cost to staff the library at the end of July. Now, if you recall last year, we had to vote on those numbers with the 2017 numbers anyway. we weren't going to be able to get the HR numbers by the time of the board meeting. So basically what the board will be doing, if you're okay with it, in March or in April, is to vote on the budget presented, but then acknowledging that the accurate 2019, 2020 numbers will be coming from HR. And those aren't things that are really, they give us exactly what we need. It's not like we have to argue over whether or not we think there should be an increase or a decrease. It's just, this is what it will cost to fund the staffing. So,
Are you going to, you could say no, are you going to be potentially available for telephone contact with Elka if she has an issue, or have you decided to totally?
that's a good question. I can give more details on that in a little bit.
And it should only be my humble opinion through Elka. I mean, you shouldn't have
Sure,
a bunch
yeah.
of people contacting you, but I don't
Yeah.
know if that's.
Yeah, let me, I'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay.
It's a good question though. Okay, so that's sort of what's been in my mind in terms of planning to make sure that things are set before I leave. Is everyone okay with that sort of escalated timeline for the budget?
Sure. And you're taking the full 12 weeks?
That's my goal, yeah. And again, if the baby comes right on time, I will return a day before the August board meeting, so I will be so fresh and ready for you guys. I'm sure it'll go very well.
Sleep deprived.
Yeah. And I will be ready to present to council just a week or so after that with the budget. So it'll be a fantastic August.
I think the only request is that you have to bring the baby.
That would be amazing. They would be
so that we can each hold.
done. At that age, they're still so much easier when they're close to you as opposed to apart. All right, wonderful. So
you
that.
know you want to. You know. You'll be the first.
So yeah, that was just a discussion I wanted to have. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about, sort of that planning, or is there anything that you're like, hey, Brittany, have you thought about X? All right, well, I will keep you
I think a lot will
updated.
be based on what the capital budget is going to be too. I mean, because it's hard without having it done to know what the question is.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I we can't discuss the questions about the budget, but
You're with strategic planning, so.
yeah. Yep. All right.
You can't predict the future either. at the same
No.
I'll do the best I can.
time. All right. So it looks like our next agenda item is an action item, appointment of interim director in closed session. So, it looks like I need to read this documentation, and then I will be asking for a motion to go into closed session with a second. The Library Board of the City of Muskego will meet at approximately 5 p.m. or as soon as thereafter, as time permits, on Tuesday, February 19th, 2019, in the Library Conference Room, Muskego Public Library, F73W16663, Janesville Road, Muskego, Wisconsin, following conclusion of consideration of the above portion of its regularly scheduled agenda, to vote on a motion to convene in closed session at said time and place for discussion/action relative to discussion relative to the appointment of interim director and 2019 library director goals, and to take such further action as may be necessary and appropriate with respect to such matters. The library board will hold a closed session in the library conference room at the library. A closed session for the above purpose is authorized pursuant to the provisions of Wisconsin statutes section 19.83 sub 1 sub c, which authorizes a governmental body upon motion duly made and carried to meet in closed session to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Upon conclusion of the closed session, the library board will convene an open session to consider its public agenda, including motions to recommend approval or rejection of the above listed deliberations or any of the public agenda items that have not been acted upon. All right, I'm looking for a motion to go into closed session. I move. Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second.
All those in favor? Signify
Aye.
Any opposed? No. We are in closed session at, according to my watch, 5:47.
Okay, we're back.
All right, so, what do we have here? All right, so the final item before adjournment is communication and miscellaneous business as authorized by law. Anyone have anything?
I have one thing.
Okay.
Me again.
Doesn't happen.
Linda Brown is retiring. Her last day is March
It's hard
1st.
to see her office.
I know, it's getting empty. The library staff are giving her a little farewell celebration next Thursday from 2:30 to 5, and you're all invited, so please feel free to stop by if you have the time.
What's the number on Thursday? Let's see, today is the 19th, so it'll be 28.
Yeah, thank you.
2:30 to 5.
So yeah, if you have the time and would like to.
How is she doing?
Good.
Yeah,
She and I have
she's
been
ready.
meeting quite a bit. Where she's preparing, giving me some knowledge that maybe I didn't have before, which is good. So
She's seen it all.
yes, she has.
How long did you come here for?
42 years.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah,
That's insane.
it. I don't think I own anything that old. My grandma's
Careful
cookie
now,
jar.
careful
My
now.
grandma's cookie jar.
But it was your grandma.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
yeah, I was only 2 when she started. No, wouldn't that be nice? All right.
That's it. That's all I have.
Anything else? All right. It looks like we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
I motion.
Okay. Assume for a second.
Second.
Boy, everybody wants to second that one.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Right.
Aye, huh? Any opposed?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
And
Thank
if Aaron
you.
was here, he'd be not wanting it to leave. Remember how
You'd
he
say
was teased?
any abstention.
Any
Any
abstention?
abstention? He's always on
I
my
think we
case
need to
about
stay
that. I
around
need
and
to
talk
check